I've always loved the Switch X. It was my main back in Monster Hunter Generations, through to World, and even some of Base Rise. However, it's always felt like it was missing something, like it needed something to take it to the next level. And when you have things like the Charge Blade hitting amazing guard points and dropping really flashy super amped element discharges, you got the longsword weaving around with a million counters, I always felt a little left out playing with Switch X, even though it's still my favourite. Thinking back to when Iceborne gave it some axe mode buffs, it did feel better and more interesting with a few different playstyles to try. But now I would say in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak that the Switch X is probably the best it's ever been, at least in my opinion. From hitting extremely satisfying counters that deal tons of damage and instantly give you the amp state, which promotes entirely new playstyles, as well as new combos that not only look awesome with spinning the weapon around you as if you're some kind of damage dealing breakdancer, but also having a dramatic effect on your switch and amp gauge. So in this one I want to talk about the Switch X in Sunbreak and why I can't get enough of it. So if you do enjoy these videos, make sure to click like and subscribe down below to support the video. And comment if you've tried the Switch X in Sunbreak and what you think of it now with its new moves. I'm of course Paradise Central, so let's start this off by talking about the Base Rise Switch X first. So by the time Base Rise came around, I had been playing a lot of Switch X. And of course, it did have the new silkbind moves that came with Base Rise, but because every weapon got new silkbind moves, and some of them were more flashy than others or just complemented certain playstyles more than others, I found myself switching between different weapons frequently to try everything out and see what worked and clicked for me. The options the Switch X got in Base Rise, like the Invincible Gambit and the Soaring Wyvern Blade, were actually quite good for the weapon. Practically, the Soaring Wyvern Blade was really good for its ability to remove the end lag of a zero-sum discharge. But for me, the overall playstyle wasn't too different from the many hours that I already had in the weapon in past games. And this led me to main different weapons in Base Rise like the bow and the dual blades that were really fun and had some nice flashy moves on them as well. So while I was having fun with those weapons, I did feel a little disheartened about my favourite weapon not being as exciting to me anymore. But then Sunbreak has come along with the new switch skills and silkbind attacks that absolutely gave the Switch X a breath of fresh air with new playstyles to try and new combos and morph attacks to rotate through in a hunt. So we need to talk about these new moves. I'm going to start off by talking about my absolute favourite, the new elemental burst counter silkbind attack. This move is incredible and gave the Switch X something that I felt it was missing for a long time, a counter. And it's not even a simple counter. You can't just press a button and trigger it as if you would a guard point. You need to activate the skill in advance, which also uses 2 silk bugs. You then enter a stationary stance that rapidly drains your switch gauge. If you then press the trigger to attack and connect that with a monster's attack, you activate the coolest Beyblade spin attack that also deals really good damage, and the cherry on top is that it instantly gives you a full amped state. So this isn't some easy mode counter. This requires planning, prep and execution to do it, which is what makes it so satisfying. This move alone is actually massive for the Switch X. It gives access to a counter-focused playstyle which is super fun to try out but does take practice, and because it gives the weapon a way to instantly get your amp state, it's absolutely huge if you can pull it off, as it means you can deal more damage with your attacks and instantly go into your sword combos once you have the amp state. You could even trigger this at the beginning of a hunt off of the monster's first roar, which is an incredible way to begin the fight in full amp state to deal even more damage. On top of all of that, it means weapons with power files can be even better than before, because they did take a long time to fill up the amp meter, but instantly getting it with the counter is a way to bypass that and just go ham with damage. So for these reasons, the elemental burst counter is so good for the Switch X and makes it feel so fun and new to play. But then there's the new 2-stage morph / combo. It's quite a mouthful, but this move is awesome. Not just because it looks like you're breakdancing as you spin this massive weapon around you and deal damage, but because the first attack of the 2-stage morph counter gives you a chunk of switch gauge back, which is perfect for getting more damage in your sword combos off, or giving you enough of the switch gauge back to follow up with a counter, because remember that drains your switch gauge. But it's not over yet, because the second morph attack of the combo also gives you a massive chunk of amp state. So if you do whiff your counter, or if you don't like the counter, you have another way to build up the amp state very easily with the second attack of the 2-stage morph / combo. So overall, these new moves that the Switch X has made it the most fun it's ever been, at least for me. I love the counter and feel like it's made the weapon way more fun and dynamic, and it's re-sparked my joy for the weapon in Rise. I also love the new 2-stage morph / combo, as it gives a new stylish combo to the weapon that has great functions with the weapon gauges. So if you never tried the Switch X out, or you simply haven't tried it in a while or since Sunbreak, I really encourage you to pick it up and give it a go with these new moves, because they are so fun to try. If you found this video interesting or helpful, make sure to click like down below and subscribe for all the other guides and Sunbreak videos already on the channel for you. Also, put in the comments down below what your favourite weapon is that doesn't get enough love. I would really love to hear what you guys think about your favourite weapon and how it does or doesn't have the thing that you wish it has, like how I wish the switch axe had a counter and now that it does and I love it. The two videos on screen now we think you will really enjoy. So if you do like the look of them, you should give them a click and try them out. Once you've watched them, let us know what you think of them in the comments down below. But for now, they're on the screen if you do want to click them.